Dapper Don Podcast. Dapper Don Podcast. It is your boy Dapper Don Dez.
Welcome to the Dapper Don Podcast. It is your boy Dapper Don Dez. And man, today we here to discuss the hip-hop culture and some social injustice that we done seen. But more importantly, we're going to discuss what and where are we drawing the line when it comes to if we're protesting Breonna Taylor, or are we treating Meg the Stallion are we putting that on the back burner? Are they different? Are they the same? That's something I want to talk about. I also want to talk about the XXL Freshman. Let's get into a little lighthearted conversation. It's also, let's not just get all serious, but we do have to address the seriousness of the Meg the Stallion. We got to address everything, but, we're going to dive right into it, man. So, as you all already know, we had to talk about this new Tory Lanez situation. So before we do that, before I talk about, Tory Lanez dropping his new album and what other artists had to say and what other people had to say, I really wanted to take the time to really discuss what has transpired and where we at now. So it's just a brief rundown, then I'm going to get into it for you. All right, so if you don't know, in July this year, news broke of a strange night in the Hollywood Hills involving two rappers, a model, and a shot heard around the world. Now, in the beginning, we all thought that this must have been some intruder or altercation or some altercation that another party possibly caused the rapper or, caused the rapper to protect himself or probably someone else. This idea wouldn't have been too far-fetched, seeing how what we seen happen to Pop Smoke not too long ago. As news broke of the two rappers' involvement, the picture became less a tale of poetic street justice and more of far too often domestic violence that plagues our community and society in a whole. Canadian rapper Tory Lanez was arrested on concealed weapons charges in California. The story that he was in the car with Meg the Stallion at the time of the arrest and that she was rushed to the hospital for minor injuries. The biggest part of the story in the beginning was the fact that Tory Lanez was reported 5'4". A few jokes, and then, the internet did what the internet did and make light of the situation with jokes such as, "My height don't fight," and he needed a booster seat to get in the cop car, with some of the jokes also saying he was arrested but his hairline got away. This seemed to be a fly-by-night story, of artists with too much time on their hands getting into some mischief. That would start to change when the friends of Meg the Stallion came out to accuse Tory Lanez for unknown reasons. The mystery of what happened became more and more clear as time went on. The first thread was Meg saying that she was shot, unlike what was previously reported. Tory Lanez camp then began to say that she was lying. This caused Meg to take it upon herself to take it to Instagram and spread the truth that she was shot. Not only did she admit that she was shot, also later on, hospital, I forget what the hospital name was, but the hospital even released files and pictures saying that she was shot. Some people make a rebuttal to the fact that, hospitals can't release your information. When it's a criminal charge or a criminal investigation, that becomes public record. The same way Rihanna's bruises in the Chris Brown situation was public. You can see these attacks. So that's the reason why that may not be covered on the HIPAA. This is when we all realized that the story was much darker than we knew. Artists from Bun B to Paul Wall, even radio guy Charlamagne the God, podcasters Joe Budden, all condemned the rapper for his actions. This led me to ask, if Meg the Stallion wasn't famous, would we have a Bun B coming to her defense? If it were any other 20-year-old black woman, would this be reported? Would this be reported assuming, Tory actually did it? Violence against women in hip-hop doesn't get a blind eye, it gets a round of applause. The pimp is looked upon as the top of the masculine food chain. For his cruelty over women, the craziest part is the men on her side are not any more of a healthier option than the latter. To say I do this to Tory or I do that to Tory is just as toxic. Meg wanted to protect Tory from the police, from public humiliation, and from himself. But as we would see, self-accountability isn't Tory Lanez's strong suit. After months of silence, he would speak out in a tweet, seeming to urge followers to excuse his absence and silence, that he would speak on the situation later that evening. What we got was more than what we bargained for. Like many, I wasn't staying up to 9 o'clock to see what was sure to be a train wreck. So I woke up to my surprise to an entire album called Daystar. A 17-track release with no guest features outside of Yoko Gold. The standout song being Money Over Fallout. Some of the lyrics were, and here's some of the lyrics that I put down here. And they want to see me in a cell. Hey, they want to see me in a cell. Like how he posted out on $30,000 bail. This is him speaking on the fact that his bail was so low. And it kind of gives into, and here's how this plays into Breonna Taylor. He's basically saying, well, if this was so serious and I almost Tupac Shakur Meg Thee Stallion, why am I not charged with anything? He even talked about that later on in the record, saying that the cops would have charged me. I would have been charged if I was guilty. This is the same thing the cops are getting to hide behind when it comes to the Breonna Taylor case, right? Because they're still not charged for her death. They're charged for the fact that the bullet that these guys was going so crazy, not only did they shoot Breonna Taylor in her room, they shot into a whole nother adjacent apartment. But we're going to stick on Meg for the time being, even though, you know, it's a real passionate situation when it comes to Breonna Taylor. Another one, H.O. caught me D'd up, talking down, we teeing up. Megan people trying to frame me for shooting, but them boys ain't clean enough. So he's saying that it's a framing. And my thing is, he also had another line where he said, if your back was turned, how can you identify me? He's basically using things that he's going to use in court, and it just came off as completely tacky, completely tone deaf. I'm not getting, why would you say that? If they're framing you, then explain how, because that's a big accusation to make, and you waited 2 months to make it. It ain't even about everybody jumping on your case. It ain't even about if you're getting framed or not. You're trying to play the sympathy role, and not only that, but he's also trying to use like little psychological things to really get in her head. Like, oh, but I'm still thinking about you and me, still seeing how I can put together the unity. He's seen, let me tell you what that is, because this is an abuser being an abuser. He's seen she still had some kind of remorse for him. So he's trying to clean up his public image while also pulling on her heartstrings. Talking about, oh, I still love her, I still care about her. Bro, I see that. I see through that already. It's that I abused you, and, you know, now don't call the cops, don't go to the police, because the police is waiting with bated breath for Meg to make a statement. The coach is waiting for it. Deportation is waiting for it. But, you know, we're going to keep going. He even had another line where he said, and the real estate N-word still hating. The real estate N-word still hating. Took me off the application. When he took me from that, he really took from my baby. You know what I'm supposed to tell this old lady? Like, she ain't supposed to have safety. Now you worried about a woman's safety. He's really trying to play to this whole, you know, oh, I'm a father trying to do my best and all this, that, and the third. This is why I say self-accountability ain't his strong suit. He got to realize what you did and why, wherever it is you're trying to move to or live at, they're not finna let you there. If they took you off the application, that sounds like you can't get the place. And I think he also said something about, you know, now they want straight cash. Well, give them straight cash then. You the one running around here with bust downs. You the one talking foreign. You talking all this money stuff. Just pay cash then. Pay up your lease. Pay up whatever it is. But the young man, I think he also had, he discussed, no. This was in the New Toronto 3. He discussed his situation with Sean Kingston. I didn't even know he was signed to Sean Kingston, but, you know, him and Sean Kingston had, you know, a relationship, a thing, whatever. They was trying to link up and really make history, make it happen. But, you know, like I said, man, this guy, he's really at a turning point in his career, and I think he should really take this a lot more serious than what he seems to be taking it. He should really evaluate if this music thing is for him. Because another thing I was thinking was, well, he also made a statement like, oh, you know, I can charge him for the flow, you know, blase. Writing from other people might be your only choice at this point, Tori. That might be your only point. If I was you, I would have took all of these songs and sold them off. I would have sold them off. He's going to have a career as a writer. He's a talented musician. I kind of remember getting some side eyes from my lady when I said that Tory Lanez album is actually a good album. I can't believe I slept on it until this happened. So controversy does improve sales because on his I didn't listen to all of Daystar. I only listened to that one song, Money Over Fallout. But, you know, his project before that one, oh, man, it was an amazing joint. Like, he really had some stuff on there that made me like, oh, I didn't know he had it like that. So, it's unfortunately so much talent, so much skill. You know who he remind me of? He remind me of Dre from Power. You remember Dre from Power? Where I don't know if about y'all, I was cheering for Dre. I was like, man, I hope Dre really gets this thing to work out with the Jimenez's. Then, of course, he becomes an informant, and he just lies left and right. He killed Donovan. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it by now. And Tory just reminds me of that. It's like you kind of just snaking your way out of this, and instead of standing on it. If he just stands on it, if he admits to it and just stands on it, it was like, listen, I'm sorry. Just let that be. He could still have a career. You can still have a career. Chris showed you that. When Chris came out, Chris only said, my bad, I'm sorry, please forgive me. That was it. He didn't give you all this little extra stuff. Sometimes you just got to face what it is you're looking at. You got to look it right in the mirror, that man in the mirror, and say, man, I dropped the ball on this one. I'm sorry. But speaking of dropping the ball, we got to talk about Breonna Taylor. So a grand jury decided not to charge anybody with any shooting of Breonna Taylor. None at all. The biggest, I mean, this was big controversy for some people. For a lot of us, man, it just felt like we were seeing more and more, we just seeing more and more of the same. I don't know if a lot of us had a lot of expectations. I don't know if a lot of us really thought that this was going to be different this time, that, you know, I think there was a lot, but the beauty of it is it seems like a lot of people who was watching this is now starting to see, you know, just how tough it is to get a conviction, because they was like, okay, well, the people are arrested. They're going to be, you know, they're going to be charged with whatever it takes. You know, they're going to be charged with whatever it takes to convict them. The courts is going to come through. Why are you guys still protesting? Why are you guys still speaking out? And here's why. Because the U.S. police, it's tough to get the U.S. police convicted. That's a tough thing to do. When you're trying to deal with somebody on a certain level that has a certain authority, both parties, the police and the courts that convict them, have too much freedom. It's too much in their depiction, in their decision. And it's like, he's not going to convict, or she is not going to convict, as far as prosecutors go, is not going to convict a police officer because this is who collects your evidence, you know, your co-workers. There has to be another court that's completely independent. I don't think you should defund the police, but there has to be a completely independent court that convicts police officers. So, you know, basically, I'm going to read this off, and this is from, you know, from BBC News. 3 officers was involved in the police raid that ended with Breonna Taylor shot dead in her home in Kentucky. Only one of them has been charged, but not in relation to her death. Why are so few police officers charged after the fatal shooting in the U.S.? So it's Brent Hawkinson faces 3 count of wanton endangerment for firing into an adjacent apartment, putting Miss Taylor's neighbors at risk. So the neighbors got more rights. Man, that warrant crazy. The other 2 officers involved were not charged, despite one of them firing the fatal shot because Miss Taylor's boyfriend fired first, later saying he thought they were intruders. Where's the NRA for this? Right? What is the NRA saying? What is all of these gun rights and Second Amendment people saying now? They too ready about a political line to come out and say, listen, some Americans were shot by intruders. I should have priority, right? It's my house. I have priority say. You're coming to my establishment. You don't just get to go OK Corral. That's the biggest problem. Why can you just go OK Corral and go, you know, boom, 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 like you Samity Sam, just because you heard one gunshot? here's something that I read. This is why I even pulled up this article for you. What's this? California. Where is it at? The Standard. All right. So the Washington Post estimates police shot and killed about 1,000 people each year in the U.S. Most of these incidents do not rise to the level of controversy or scrutiny seen in Miss Taylor's case, and many have occurred when the officer themselves was fired upon. But getting a charge or a conviction for these tragedies that involve excessive use of police force is rare. These are the factors that explains why. Listen to this. The law over reasonable force. Although the language of law that dictates what police may do vary from state to state, the most common standard officers have to abide by is that their use of force to be objectively reasonable. And see, this is what makes it a racial issue, because it's objectively reasonable to assume Michael Brown has a gun. It's objectively reasonable to assume Breonna Taylor's house is a trap and that she got men. That Breonna Taylor's a trap queen. That's reasonable to assume that. It's reasonable to assume that George Floyd putting a knee on a big black guy like George Floyd won't kill him. It won't kill Eric Garner. So this is the objectively reasonable. That meant that the officer had a reasonable belief in the moment that he or she or bystanders were able to be harmed. Isn't that so funny? Because the officer who killed Breonna Taylor, you put neighbors at harm. You put more people at harm than anything. The situation literally would have been safer had you not shown up. That's the problem with a lot of these shootings. They act like the police are doing their job, but if it's to make some place safer, right? If this is a job that you make this place safer, and it would have been safer had you just not shown up at all, well, did you really do an effective job? If you called a fire department to put out a little flame and the whole neighborhood's ablaze by the time they're done, you would say those are pretty incompetent firefighters, right? Well, anyway, that standard has come under increased scrutiny for giving police too much leeway. Particularly the flexibility of the word reasonable. It could be enough that an officer believes that they were in danger at the time, even if hindsight showed they were not. In these cases, historically, the police have owned the narrative. Bystanders' account are discounted oftentimes, says Dr. Stinton. Written reports are sometimes factually inconsistent with the video evidence. California changed its use of the law in August, swapping out the word reasonable for the word necessary. It's perhaps one of the strictest laws in the country. Local prosecutors also have nearly unlimited discretion on whether or not to bring charges against officers and won't if they deem the shooting justified. Some jurisdictions use a grand jury to make the determination on whether to charge, but these proceedings are secret. That's more of that transparency I'm talking about we're not getting. That's more of that transparency I'm talking about that we're not getting. Prosecutors work closely with police in their day-to-day caseloads, which Kate Levings, an associate professor at the Benjamin School of Law, says could lead to more favorable treatment. It could also be easier to not bring charges, she added, if there are doubts they can prove a case. You want to think about it more, cynically, I guess. It's very easy to say you can't prove a case when you don't want to. Trust in police. I guess this is another reason. You have, trust in police. Judges and juries may also have trusting feelings towards police and be less likely to doubt their word. Part of their job is, in theory, putting themselves in dangerous situations with people who can cause harm to them or others. Social norms dictate that people tend to believe the police when they say they were in fear for their life. So it's hard to make a case that they weren't without evidence to the contrary. That's another one. I don't know if that's the people that have the trust. I don't know if the people have the trust, or is it just the people they work with have the trust. And you're looking at the people who they bring in day in, day out, and who are they pulling over at a higher rate? I wonder. You tell me. The union. Police unions are some of the strongest in the country. Over time, some have written into officers' contracts various conditions that can slow the investigation process after a killing, such as giving the officer advance warning about an impending investigation. The former police chief of Philadelphia, Charles Ramsey, openly complained that he could not fire officers who committed crimes because of the city's union negotiations arbitrary system. Officers also benefit from qualified immunity, which means they can be personally and monetarily held responsible. They can't be personally or monetarily held responsible in civil lawsuits. The thinking goes that with these kinds of protections, officers have little to fear of consequences of their actions. Some cases where police charged. Okay, whatever. But Stenton's cautious that police unions give the majority of officers important rights. The collective bargaining agreement provided due processing protection more than anything else, he says. And police officers don't shed their constitutional rights when they walk into a police station each morning. Systematic changes. Some have cautioned that putting all the focus on charges in prison time for police officers who kill civilians gives a false sense that policing in the U.S. is truly changing. Looking at the procedure used by the officer in Ms. Taylor's case is more important to lasting reform. We are really spending too much time focusing on prosecution and incarceration of individual police officers, she said, and not enough time on big systematic change that will stop police officers from being at Breonna Taylor's house in the early hours of the morning with a battering ram. I just thought I'd read that to you, and I know that that's a bit much. I might have overloaded you with some information, but I really thought that it was crucial you hear all of that. I like to learn stuff. I like learning stuff, and I hope you learn something too, because they do have these unions, and don't get me wrong, I can objectively look at this. I can look at this objectively, where one can, because I'm not saying murder one. I'm saying in reality, I don't think that they maliciously wanted to just hurt her. I think they may even feel bad that happened. I don't think nobody wanted this to happen. 2 law-abiding citizens was fired upon by police officers who at the time was law-abiding officers too, right? These weren't like crooked cops. I don't know who they are. But I'm assuming, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, something that they didn't give anybody who gets shot by the police. Giving them the benefit of the doubt, they didn't know. They didn't know. They was just going off of what's right. Here's the problem. Some mistake happened. Body cams coming out after you decide to not indict. And the grand jury is secret. The processing is secret. Why is that? Why is the process secret? I mean, if we get convicted as citizens, it's put out in the public. But you do have to treat things with discretion, right? Because if you change this one thing, if you change this law in this one particular setting, it could ultimately affect, police proceedings moving further. There may be times where I'm like, no, you should do that secretly. You should keep that quiet. So I acknowledge that there should be some degree of discretion when dealing with police investigation. And the fact that the police can be told that they're being investigated is also, if the union controls who investigates them, when they get investigated, where they get investigated, how they get investigated, the investigation is just a formality. It's just a formality, man. You got a Philadelphia police chief saying, I can't even fire my guys because of arbitrary system that, you know what, maybe it should be that way. I wouldn't want to be able just to lose my job off of nothing, especially when you got to make split-second decisions. The problem is when it comes time to explain the decision why nobody says anything. There's no transparency when it comes to when and where they're being held accountable. Why did the grand jury say no? Why wasn't the autopsy done correctly? Why is the body cams just now coming out? And it barely shows anything. All these cops entered into this building. There's no other surveillance. There's no other evidence. How deeply was this really investigated? I do agree about them not being personally or monetarily, responsible in lawsuits. Like, you can't sue the cops if one busts you upside the head. Because I can see how having to be the person that has to do law. But I remember reading a book. I didn't read a book. It was an audio book called Verbal Jitsu. And the book Verbal Jitsu is about, a police officer who, when he first got into the police force, he was a tough guy. He could beat up people. And if you didn't do what he said, he beat you up. Well, eventually he learned the job isn't so much physical force. It's actually being able to communicate and talk to somebody. No matter how belligerent they get, you have to stay cool. You have to stay calm. And if most cops cannot have to shoot anybody, I don't want to hear this. It's a dangerous job. You made it a dangerous job, and you've made living around you dangerous and being policed around you dangerous. I heard somebody say something that I thought was so prolific, man. I'm going to end it on this one. Stop telling me to protest peaceful. Stop telling me to protest peacefully and start policing peacefully. So, rest in peace, Breonna Taylor. Baby girl, I'm sorry we couldn't get you justice, man. And to whoever comes next, because it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. You see, these cowards are feeling empowered now. They feeling empowered. If George Floyd seems to have all the momentum right now. George Floyd has all the momentum right now, man. And we're going to see what they do with his killers. We're going to see, because everybody see his killing. Everybody can see his murder. So everybody was like, yeah, this is clearly killing. This is clearly wrong. And when he gets off on it, I want to hear what everybody's opinions is. I want to hear what everybody says then. Because it was the same thing with Trayvon Martin. Everybody's like, Trayvon Martin, that was wrong, that was wrong, that was wrong. Now, I remember talking to some dude, and it's funny how once the person who killed you gets off with it, your story changes. Guy was like, Trayvon Martin, he was a punk. How do you know? You never even met the guy. You never talked to him. You don't know anything about their character. We going off of what we seen Zimmerman do. What he himself said he did. What the police told him not to do. But you're the punk, man. You're the punk. People are closed-minded these days. It's a scary world, man. It's a scary world. Oh, I was supposed to also tell you about, the Tory Lanez is dropping, right? So he's dropped his album. I think he's supposed to do like 40,000. Did you know Machine Gun Kelly has a pop rock album coming out called Tickets to My Downfall? It's like, like a punk rock thing. He got a guitar. I always knew he was going to switch out eventually. I knew he's going to switch out, man. I think he spoke on it. Let's see what he said, because I also want to do the XXL Freshman, but we're going to see what MGK, what we going to say here. MGK speaks on selling out hip-hop. Because I'm telling you, it's supposed to be like a pop album. I mean, or like a rock album. Like Travis Barker is producing the album. Now, Travis Barker, he the guy, it's funny. It's full circle, isn't it? Because Travis Barker inspired Lil Wayne to get all those tattoos, and Lil Wayne inspired all these kids with all these tattoos all over their face. So, in a way, we kind of appropriated some white culture, even though I think that's like more Vado culture, right? Well, anyway, Machine Gun Kelly, also known as MGK, stopped by to lift off to remind everyone that hip-hop will always be his core. Addressing some backlash that MGK has recently received from fans, the Cleveland native put some things on the table in recent interviews with the LA Lakers to completely remind his naysayers just who he remains to be in the industry. Sporting a red puffy jacket reminiscent of the 90s era, MGK has been inspired by the rapper. Start off by saying, I just want to remind people, all these recent hits aside, music is still really fun to me. The essence of hip-hop bleeds through me every day. And I think that a hit can blind people sometimes. And this is the core where it all started. He used to rap really fast. So that's it. That's all I guess I need to read. I want to talk to you about the XXL Freshman. I know it's late, right? 2 weeks in, talking about the freshman. So I want to go through each one of them, give each one of them a little bit of love. The first one, wasn't Roddy Ricch on the last year when he was 2019, right? He should have been there. So let's talk about who we got. First one we going to go with is Fabio Foreign. Hey, Fabio Foreign, he was on a song with Tory Lanez. Fabio Foreign doing his thing when it's pouring. Man, Fabio, he's a New York rapper coming out of Brooklyn, extra swaggy, whatever. He do his thing. His style is he was very close to Pop Smoke, ironically. I'm sure Pop Smoke would have been on here. If Pop Smoke wasn't, we're gonna see that. We're gonna do that too. That's fun. Nah, that's fun. Let's look at who wouldn't be here if Pop Smoke was still alive. But also we're gonna just talk about who we got. So let's go from the top. Polo G. Polo G had a song called We Pop Out at Your Party. I'm with the gang, and it's gonna be a robbery. So tuck your chain. Hey, it's a song. It's a hot one, man. He also got a guy named Lil TJ on there who's on this list too. He's from Brooklyn. It's a lot of Brooklyn rappers on here. Although I'm sure, the Avery X wearing 3 size too big fitted hat Tim boots wearing New Yorkers ain't gonna acknowledge it, but yeah, they from the NY. Them boys serious. So we got Polo G coming out of Chirac. We got Rod Wave. Rod Wave, he's kind of like an R&B singer-ish kind of guy. A big dude. He make a lot of sad love songs. He's straight. I know about him. I used to see him on Facebook a lot. Baby Keem, I think I found who wouldn't be here. Oh, Vince Staple in the face. And he got on dress shoes. I don't know what's his deal. NLE Chopper. NLE Chopper time. Chopper zone. Chopper time. Yeah. NLE Chopper, he got a song called Walk Down on. And he be talking about holistic healing and, and stuff like that. I got a vibe with that. I can't do nothing but respect that. He had a song. He had Walk 'Em Down. I heard that one. I heard another song he had. I think it's called Shooters or something like that. He was in the front yard just going nuts. He got a lot of energy. He a real Roddy kind of guy. This is clearly an old picture because he got a whole neck tat now. He got a whole frontal neck tat. That's when you get that, got a whole front. It's hard. Don't get me wrong. It look dope. But when you get that full neck tat, you fully committing to whatever it is you do for a living. Like if you're a biker and you build bikes and you get one of those, that's just what you do now. You're a bike builder. You're not switching up and being an accountant. You're not switching up after that. So man, I really hope it work out for him. Shout out to No Love Entertainment Chopper. That's what NLE stand for. I ain't do no research. I already knew that. Mulatto. I was listening to Mulatto in the car. Mulatto, she's a lot more lyrical than the rest of them. Like NLE Chopper, he's like real kind of down south. He's from Memphis. He's like a real down south gangster rapper. But her, man, she got bars, and she said her favorite rapper is Gucci Mane. My girl know more about it than I do. It'd be nice if she was here to tell you about it, but she's super sick. She's super nice. I'm vibing with that. One time for Mulatto. Lil TJ doesn't look like he sounds. He doesn't look little, and he doesn't look like a TJ. Nothing about this guy says TJ, but his voice looks different. Who should also been on here? Maybe he just needs a little more time to grow and blow up, but it's a guy named J.I., the Prince of NY. He's dope. He's dope too. I like him. He's like the short Puerto Rican kid. Well, anyway, Lil TJ did a song with him, and he was on Polo G's record too. So, Jack Harlow, what's poppin'? Pull up, I could pass that like Stockton. What's poppin'? Y'all didn't hear that one. That's him. He got a joint with Lil Baby, Tory Lanez, Lil Wayne. Like, it's lit. It's everything that you would expect from, a premier artist like that. You got Chica. Chica was one of the people that went in on J. Cole. That's where I remember her from. Because he told old girl to watch her tone, to watch her mouth, watch how you talking to me, watch your mouth, I'm a legend. And she came back with, oh, you can't talk to a black woman like that. And Chica was gassing up. I ain't reviewing you. Cowboy. One time for the boy Cowboy. He like a love song, bro. He so reminds me of a Bow Wow. I hope he wins. We need another Bow Wow. And I'm not calling Bow Wow. He from the streets. He hard. He tough. I'm sure when he see that, he gonna be like, don't call me Bow Wow. I'm not Bow Wow. But bro, I think he looked like a good investment. If I had to invest money, if I had $1 million, let me see. If I had $1 million and I had to sign each one of these people and give each one a budget, this fun. Let's do this one. I'm giving Harlow 50. So what I got 950 left. Chica getting another 50. Jack Harlow, he white. Listen, you only need 50. You only gonna need about 50,000. You ain't gonna need a lot. You ain't gonna need a lot of nothing to get him going. All right, 50 on him. Chica, work the chitlin circuit. Get some mixtapes going. I guess I still give you 50. Ooh, Cowboy. Nah. I'm gonna say him for last. I want to make sure I got enough budget. So what I got 900 left. Little TJ. Little TJ getting 100. When I'm at 800, Mulatto. I'm gonna give. If I got 800 left, I'm giving 75. I'm giving 75 to Mulatto. Right? So I'm at 725. At 725, I'm gonna give. I can see giving Mulatto, like, you gonna have to, get her a little bit of show money, get her a little bit, because it's gonna cost a lot more. I can't just get her 75, right? So what, I'm at 725. Damn, I got it, but she got it. She got the skill. So I'm at 800. So I'm gonna get her 100 too, man. In LE Chopper, I gotta make it up with you. I'm giving you 50. I'm giving you 50. So where am I at? I'm at 650. Baby Kim, I'm not giving you nothing. If I'm at 650, I'm giving Rod Wave. I'm giving Rod Wave. I'm gonna give him 150. I'm gonna give Rod Wave 150. So I'm at 500. 200 on Polo. That's 200 on Polo. I'm at 550. That's 350. 350. I'm giving 250 to Cowboy. Listen, 250 to Cowboy. He getting the biggest budget. You hear me? Between him and Polo G, I'm giving him the biggest budget. Cowboy is going to he's got what it takes. He's got the appeal with the ladies. He can make a love song. He don't make long songs. So, because it don't matter how long they stream. It don't matter how long they stream. As long as it streams. So they giving you 2-minute songs that's going to fly by. Boom, 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 boom. So they can make 10 songs that sound the same, but it sounds like it's changing up just a little bit. Cowboy going to be it. You hear me? That's going to be the next little Bow Wow. I know it. I'm putting 250 on him. Well, I still got 100 left on her. I still got 100 left. You got it, Mulatto. Give it to Mulatto. So what, she got 200? 200 on Mulatto, 200 on Polo G, 250 on Cowboy. That's 650. Split it up against everybody else. But I'm telling you, if I had $1 million, I had to break up what I was going to spend, man. I'm telling you, Polo G, he's not a Chirac sound, but he has a Chirac appeal. I like that. Chief Keef did a lot for them boys, man. Chief Keef did a lot for Chicago. Oh, shit. I ain't get Lil Key. My bad. You also got Lil Key, Fabio, and a guy named 24K Golden. So he ain't getting nothing. Never heard of him. He just won the 10th place spot, which is litty. If you just win the spot, that's litty. I gotta respect that. You can't hate on just winning the spot. Lotto winner. Producer Jetson May, who curated the music for the freestyle. Jetson made another one. That's him. Hey, they all got white forces on. That's what's up. I gotta respect that. Glad the white forces then came back, man. It's a real classy shoe. It's a super classy shoe. It's very versatile. You can wear white You can wear white Jordans to church, not white Jordans. You can wear white Forces to church, to a job interview. It's the most versatile shoe ever in history. Name me a more versatile shoe. I guess you can wear Timbs to work. Oh, don't get me started on the black Reeboks. That's back when that was job uniform. Like, I guess black Air Force Ones is the new job uniform shoe, unless they got to be skid resistant. But listen, the minute Nike makes skid resistant shoes, it's over. I don't know why they don't make skid resistant shoes. Somebody explain me that. Why they don't make skid resistant shoes, man? Because I used to be running around Steak and Shake, slipping on everything. Boy, you slipping and sliding and gliding back there. You know, it's water all over the floor in the kitchen. It's ratchet, bro. It's ratchet. It ain't about nothing. This ain't nothing to tamper with. Mozzie's new album's out. I don't know if y'all heard Hazardous Occupation. I suppose he's talking about gangbanging. So give it a listen, man. It's an amazing project. A great listen, well sequenced. You know, he's talking that gangster. And most importantly, Justin for Breonna Taylor. And man, that's it. As each and every day, I like to thank you for tuning in to the Dapper Don Podcast. It's your boy. I'm out.